Shadier Sanders just broke the NFL. $250 million in jersey sales, $14 million commission before his first snap. The posts were everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even so-called credible sports sites. People weren't just talking about it, they were celebrating it. Fans were calling it the most player-empowering deal in NFL history. Clips were going viral, headlines screaming that Shadier had negotiated a prime equity clause, giving him a cut of Browns merchandise, sponsorships, and ticket revenue. For a moment, the NFL world stopped. The idea that a rookie, a fifth-round pick at that, had outsmarted billionaire owners and rewritten the contract rulebook. It was irresistible. People were posting jersey receipts, saying, "Shadier just made me a shareholder," and predicting that every rookie from here on out would demand the same deal. But here's the part that shook everyone. Every single word of it was fake. No $250 M jersey sales. No $14 M commission check. No revolutionary prime equity clause. Nothing. The whole thing was an elaborate, viral hoax, and yet it worked. It fooled casual fans, major media outlets, and even analysts with decades in the business. For days, people ran with the story like it was gospel. And when the truth came out, instead of backing down, some fans doubled down, attacking anyone who dared to point out it wasn't real, calling them haters and NFL shills. That reaction, the way this story spread, and how people refused to let go even after the truth was revealed, tells us something much bigger than just someone made up a rumor. It's a perfect case study of how sports media works in 2025, how fast misinformation can spread, and why critical thinking is now more important than ever. Because let's be real, Shadier Sanders doesn't need a fake contract clause to be interesting. He's already one of the most polarizing young players in the league. He's got talent, he's got swagger, and he's got the famous last name. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't look away. And that's exactly why a story like this could take over the internet. It tapped into something fans already wanted to believe. So in this deep dive, we're going to break it all down. How the fake contract rumor started, why it spread like wildfire, what it says about the NFL media machine, and what it actually means for Shadier's future in Cleveland. And here's the best part. The real story might actually be better than the fake one. Because if you understand where Shadier is right now in his development, you'll see that he's in a position that could quietly set him up for success. But before we get there, we have to talk about the madness that took over social media, and why so many people fell for the biggest contract hoax in recent NFL history. It started with a single tweet, then a couple of Instagram pages picked it up, and within hours the story had taken on a life of its own. Suddenly, screenshots were circulating claiming sources inside the Browns organization had confirmed a groundbreaking prime equity clause in Shadier Sanders' contract. Some posts even had fake graphics that looked like ESPN lower thirds or NFL Network headlines. To the average fan scrolling at 2 a.m., it looked legit. Then came the TikTok breakdown videos, creators narrating with dramatic music, pulling up contract details, talking about how this was about to change sports forever. Fans in the comments section went wild. This is how you beat the system. Dayan raised a king. Respect. NFL owners are sick right now. The narrative was too perfect. Here was the son of Dayan, prime time Sanders, a polarizing figure already, now supposedly forcing the NFL to rewrite its rules before ever playing a down. People wanted to believe it. It felt like a victory for the players, for individuality, for sticking it to the establishment. And because everyone wanted to be first, not right, even mid-tier media outlets started running with the story. You saw thumbnails on YouTube screaming, "NFL history made." You saw podcasts dedicating entire segments to how this would change negotiations forever. Even some verified reporters tweeted about it, not confirming it, but speculating if it might be true. And that was enough. The snowball kept rolling. By day 2, the internet had convinced itself this was real. People were calculating how much Shadier would earn if the Browns sold out every game. Some fans even claimed they were buying jerseys just to support the movement. Cleveland ticket prices for the preseason games spiked overnight. Coincidence or not, it added fuel to the fire. And here's the craziest part. This wasn't just fans. NFL talk shows were referencing it. Analysts on panels debated whether this would set a precedent. It became less about if it was true and more about what it meant if it was true. The speculation became the story. But here, where things got dangerous. The louder the story got, the harder it became to fact-check in real time. By the time a Columbia University sports business expert came out and said flat out, "This is 100% fake," the internet didn't want to hear it. The narrative had already taken root. The viral explosion wasn't just about a contract clause. It was about how quickly sports fans can be swept up in a story that fits the vibe they want to be true. And as we're about to see, the details of this so-called deal should have been the first red flag that something was off. Okay, time to pump the brakes and get real for a minute. Before we talk about whether Shadier Sanders changed the game, let's talk about how NFL rookie contracts actually work, because this is where the whole rumor completely falls apart. Since 2011, the NFL has had what's called the rookie wage scale, a system written right into the league's collective bargaining agreement. What does that mean? It means every rookie contract is essentially predetermined based on where a player is drafted. Get picked first overall? You're looking at a 4-year deal worth roughly $40 million, fully guaranteed. Get picked in the 5th round like Shadier Sanders. Your deal is basically a 4-year contract worth around $4-5 million total. There's very little wiggle room. You can't just stroll into negotiations and say, "I'd like a cut of jersey sales, please." And here, the key, teams can't negotiate outside that structure. Even if the Browns wanted to give Shadier some special prime equity clause, the NFL league office would never allow it. All teams have to play by the same rules. Otherwise, every rookie agent would demand the same thing, and the wage scale would collapse overnight. That's why the rumor was so unbelievable to anyone who has actually seen how these deals get done. The idea that a 5th-round rookie had somehow negotiated a clause giving him a percentage of Browns merchandise, sponsorships, and ticket revenue wasn't just unlikely. It was impossible under the current CBA. Another clue, the money. Reports were claiming $250 million in jersey sales before Shadier ever took a snap. To put that in perspective, even the most popular NFL jerseys, Tom Brady's, Patrick Mahomes', don't hit numbers anywhere near that in a single season. The idea that a rookie, who hasn't even played yet, could outsell every star in the league combined should have been a red flag. But here's the thing, most fans don't know how these contracts work. They just see a flashy headline, a cool-sounding clause, and run with it. And that's why this hoax was so effective. It played on people's lack of familiarity with the business side of football. Once experts started weighing in, like the Columbia University professor who called the clause fictional and structurally impossible, the truth became unavoidable. But by then, the story had already done its damage. And that brings us to a bigger question. Why were so many people ready to believe this in the first place? What is it about Shadier Sanders and his relationship with the NFL that made fans want this story to be true? Now that we've busted the prime equity clause myth, let's talk about something deeper, why people wanted it to be true. Humans are wired to believe stories that fit the narrative we already want to see. Shadier Sanders is the perfect example. He's young, talented, flashy, and carries a famous name. Fans have been waiting for him to stick it to the system ever since he entered the league. When a story comes along suggesting that he somehow outsmarted billion-dollar NFL executives, it's irresistible. It confirms what people already believe, that Shadier is bigger than just a 5th-round pick. This is called confirmation bias, the tendency to favor information that supports your existing beliefs. The rumor wasn't just fake news, it was aspirational news. It gave fans a story they wanted to believe. The underdog, the 5th-round pick, pulling a genius move no one else could. And because it made people feel smart and in the know, they shared it without hesitation. Then there's social proof. When thousands of people, including influencers, analysts, and casual fans, start posting about something, it feels credible. If everyone else is buying into it, why wouldn't it be real? That's why the story spread like wildfire on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and even YouTube. The crowd made it feel true. Add clickbait culture to the mix. Media outlets know that outrageous headlines get clicks. Phrases like revolutionary contract or NFL history made weren't just informative. They were designed to trigger an emotional reaction, to make fans share first and question later. People were reacting before thinking, and that's a recipe for viral misinformation. Finally, there's emotional investment. Shadier isn't just any rookie, he's the son of Deion Sanders. Fans have been watching his journey since high school. That emotional connection made the story more believable because it seemed fitting. People wanted a plot twist where Shadier doesn't just succeed on the field, he rewrites the rules. The combination of confirmation bias, social proof, clickbait, and emotional investment created the perfect storm. Even when experts tried to correct the narrative, fans resisted. They doubled down, accusing skeptics of being haters or NFL shills, rather than accepting reality. Understanding this isn't just fun psychology, it's critical for anyone consuming sports media. It shows how easily people can be manipulated by stories that appeal to what they want to be true, rather than what actually is true. So the next time a headline seems unbelievable but thrilling, pause, ask yourself, does this pass the smell test? Who is reporting it? What evidence supports it? Because the Shadier Sanders saga isn't just about a fake contract, it's about how our brains interact with media, hype, and fandom in the digital age. If psychology explains why fans fell for the story, the media explains how it got there in the first place. Let's be honest, sports media isn't just about reporting facts anymore. In 2025, it's also about clicks, views, and shares. Outlets thrive on stories that generate engagement, and the Shadier Sanders prime equity clause rumor was perfect. It was flashy, shocking, and emotional, everything the algorithm loves. Some websites ran the story with headlines like, Shadier Sanders just revolutionized NFL contracts, or Brown's rookie outsmarts billion-dollar system. Even the language in the articles was designed to provoke reaction. Phrases like, unless things get really weird, or calling skeptics conspiracy theorists, were sprinkled throughout to stir debate. Readers weren't just informed, they were manipulated into engagement. And it didn't stop there. Podcasts, YouTube channels, and social media analysts started breaking down the alleged clause in incredible detail. Charts, graphs, and expert-sounding jargon made it look official. The more professional it seemed, the more believable it became, even though it was completely fabricated. Here's the harsh truth. Fact-checking often lagged behind virality. The internet moves fast, and media outlets feel pressure to be first rather than correct. By the time experts stepped in and debunked the story, the narrative had already taken hold. Videos had gone viral, posts had thousands of comments, and casual fans were already sharing screenshots. Retractions, corrections, they barely made a dent. The media's role in this saga wasn't malicious. Mostly, it was careless. Outlets were hungry for engagement, fans were hungry for drama, and the algorithms amplified both. The result? A perfect storm where a completely fictional story seemed real, convincing millions that a rookie had pulled off an impossible financial feat. But there's another lesson here. Media literacy is more important than ever. Just because a story appears on a seemingly credible platform doesn't make it true. Always consider, who is reporting it? Are there multiple reliable sources? Does it pass the basic logic test, given what we know about the NFL and rookie contracts? Shadier Sanders didn't need the media to exaggerate his story. He's compelling enough on his own. But the way the media amplified a hoax shows how easily misinformation can spread, and why fans need to question what they see instead of blindly sharing it. At the end of the day, the media didn't create the rumor out of thin air. They merely acted as an accelerant, helping it go viral. And that's why the next section is so important, separating the fantasy from reality in Shadier's actual position with the Browns. Because understanding where he really stands is far more interesting than any viral headline. Now that we've dissected the rumor and how it spread, it's time to focus on what actually matters. Shadier Sanders' real situation with the Cleveland Browns. Forget the fake $250 million contracts. The truth is far more grounded, and it's actually encouraging for his long-term development. Shadier entered the NFL as a fifth-round pick, and he's currently the third-string quarterback behind veteran Joe Flacco and backup Dylan Gabriel. On the surface, that might sound like a slow start, but this is exactly where a rookie quarterback should be. Being third on the depth chart isn't a failure. It's an opportunity to learn, grow, and prepare without the immediate pressure of starting games. Cleveland's quarterback history adds context here. The Browns have a well-documented tendency to cycle through quarterbacks due to injuries, performance issues, or mid-season changes. Flacco, while experienced, isn't known for bulletproof durability at this stage of his career. That means the chance for Shadier to see meaningful playing time this season is very real. It just won't be because of some viral, fake contract clause. It will happen the old-fashioned way, opportunity plus preparation. Behind the scenes, Shadier is grinding. He's working with the scout team, learning the playbook, and developing chemistry with teammates. These are the exact things that separate a good rookie from a great one. Every practice rep, every walkthrough, every film session is setting him up to succeed when the opportunity arrives. The Browns drafted him for his talent, intelligence, and potential, not because of a hoax or hype. Being a fifth-round pick also comes with advantages. Expectations are manageable, mistakes are less scrutinized, and he has time to develop at a steady pace. This allows Shadier to focus on improving mechanics, reading defenses, and building confidence in live game scenarios without the constant pressure of starting week 1. And let's not forget his mental game. Handling all the social media buzz, the fake contracts, viral rumors, and fan speculation is part of being a modern athlete. The fact that he hasn't been derailed by it shows maturity beyond his years. Staying focused on preparation and performance is the most important factor for his career. At the end of the day, Shadier's real situation is simple. He's in a perfect spot to grow, learn, and eventually compete for playing time. No viral headline or fake contract changes that. The Browns see his potential. He's gaining experience every day, and when the moment comes, he'll have the tools to perform at a high level. Forget the hoaxes. The story that matters is his journey from a fifth-round rookie to an NFL quarterback capable of making a real impact on the field. That's the narrative worth following, and it's far more compelling than anything social media could invent. If there's one thing the Shadier Sanders prime equity clause saga teaches us, it's this. As fans, we need to think critically about the stories we consume. The internet moves fast, and sports media moves even faster. Viral headlines, flashy graphics, and bold claims grab our attention immediately. But that doesn't mean they're accurate. In this case, a completely fabricated story made a rookie quarterback look like he had outsmarted the entire NFL, and millions of people believed it without question. That's not loyalty, that's impulsivity. Fans want heroes, underdog victories, and dramatic narratives. Shadier Sanders fits that mold perfectly, so a story suggesting he had outsmarted billion-dollar executives was irresistible. Confirmation bias kicked in. People accepted the story because it matched the version of reality they wanted to believe. Social proof amplified it. When everyone else was sharing and reacting, the story felt credible. And clickbait media ensured it spread like wildfire. But here's the danger. Believing everything you read without scrutiny sets you up to be misled repeatedly. Sports fans aren't just spectators, we're consumers of information. And misinformation can distort reality, shape unfair expectations, and even hurt players. Imagine the pressure on Shadier to live up to a fantasy that never existed. Unrealistic narratives can create disappointment, frustration, or misguided criticism, none of which help anyone. The lesson here is simple. Slow down and analyze. Ask questions like, who is reporting this? Are there multiple credible sources? Does this make logical sense, given what we know about the league? Critical thinking doesn't make you a hater. It makes you an informed fan. It allows you to celebrate real achievements without being swept away by viral hype. It also helps separate fact from fiction so players like Shadier can be judged for what they actually do on the field, not what social media wishes they could do. Another takeaway: context matters. Shadier isn't a first-round pick, but he's in a strong developmental position. His growth, preparation, and eventual opportunity are far more important than fake headlines. Being a responsible fan means valuing the real story, hard work, improvement, and performance over sensationalized rumors. Finally, this saga is a reminder that media literacy is a skill every fan needs in the modern age. The internet will always try to trick you with outrageous claims, viral graphics, and emotional narratives. Being thoughtful, asking questions, and demanding evidence keeps you grounded. At the end of the day, the Shadier Sanders hoax is entertaining, yes, but it's also a cautionary tale. The real excitement comes from watching his actual journey unfold on the field, not a fantasy contract dreamed up by social media. First and foremost, development is key. As a fifth-round rookie, Shadier's primary job isn't to headline the news or break records overnight. It's to learn, adapt, and grow. He's currently the third quarterback on the Browns' depth chart, which puts him in a perfect position to observe, absorb, and refine his skills without the immediate pressure of starting games. Every practice rep with the scout team, every walkthrough, and every film session is an opportunity to sharpen his mechanics, improve his decision-making, and build chemistry with his teammates. History shows that Cleveland quarterbacks often have unpredictable paths. Injuries, performance shifts, and mid-season changes are part of the reality. Flacco is a veteran but not infallible, and Dylan Gabriel, while talented, is still developing. That creates a real chance for Shadier to see the field, not because of viral headlines or fake contract clauses, but because the NFL rewards preparation when opportunity arises. Another critical factor is mental focus. The social media frenzy surrounding the fake prime equity clause could have been a major distraction. Instead, Shadier's ability to stay grounded and focus on his craft speaks volumes about his maturity. Handling hype, criticism, and misinformation is part of being a modern athlete, and Shadier is already learning how to navigate that landscape. The next step for him is simple but demanding. Continue mastering the Browns' playbook, understand defensive schemes, and perform consistently in practice. His time will come, and when it does, he must be ready to translate preparation into performance. This is where rookies separate themselves, the ability to perform under real NFL conditions after months of behind-the-scenes work. Off the field, his growth also matters. Building relationships with teammates, coaches, and mentors will strengthen his support system. Networking with veteran quarterbacks, learning leadership skills, and maintaining professionalism in interviews and media interactions are all part of shaping a successful career. Finally, opportunity is only part of the equation. Execution is everything. When Shadier steps onto the field, the real measure of his career won't be fake contract stories or viral internet hype. It will be accuracy, poise, decision-making, and the ability to elevate his team when it matters most. In short, the fake headlines have faded, but Shadier's opportunity is very real. He has the talent, the tools, and the environment to succeed. What comes next is up to him, and if he continues on this path, the story we'll be talking about in the future won't be a hoax. It'll be about his real achievements, his wins, and the legacy he builds on the field. So, what's the takeaway from the Shadier Sanders prime equity clause saga? First, it's clear that viral headlines can be dangerously misleading. The story of a fifth-round rookie outsmarting billion-dollar NFL executives and earning millions before taking a snap was exciting, yes, but entirely fabricated. Fans, media, and even some analysts were swept up because it fit the narrative they wanted to believe. The underdog beating the system, the star-in-the-making rewriting the rules. But here's the real lesson. Shadier Sanders doesn't need fake headlines to be compelling. He's already a fascinating story. A young quarterback learning his craft, stepping into a system with history and pressure, navigating social media hype, and preparing to seize opportunities as they arise. That's the story that matters. His journey from a fifth-round pick to a potential starting quarterback in the NFL is already remarkable. The fake contract may have distracted some fans, but it hasn't changed his reality. He's in the perfect position to grow, improve, and make a lasting impact. This saga also teaches fans something important about media consumption. Social media moves fast, and clickbait spreads faster. Stories that sound amazing aren't always true, and sometimes our own biases and hopes make us believe them even faster. It's crucial to pause, question, and verify. Critical thinking isn't cynicism, it's the difference between being a responsible fan and being manipulated by hype. Look at sources, check facts, and don't let emotion cloud your judgment. That way, you can enjoy sports for what it truly is. A mix of talent, hard work, and unpredictable moments, rather than just viral storytelling. For Shadier, the next chapter is still unwritten. He's got talent, opportunity, and a platform to prove himself on the field. His success will be determined by preparation, performance, and focus, not by imaginary contract clauses or internet chatter. And that's what makes following his journey exciting. The suspense isn't manufactured, it's real. So here's the call to action. Keep watching, keep analyzing, and most importantly, appreciate the real stories behind the headlines. Celebrate Shadier Sanders for his work ethic, his growth, and the moments he creates on the field. Ask questions when things sound too good to be true, and don't let viral hype replace reality. That way, when Shadier takes the field and shows the world what he can do, you'll be cheering for the truth, not just the story that went viral. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think fans were too eager to believe the fake contract story? And when Shadier gets his shot with the Browns, do you think he's ready to prove he doesn't need viral hype to succeed? Hit subscribe and the notification bell because we'll be following every step of his journey. Real stories, real analysis, and no fake headlines.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow and lets us know you love this kind of content. And hey, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your friends, your group chats, or anyone who loves football as much as you do. The more the conversation spreads, the better it gets. Most importantly, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss when we drop fresh stories, wild rumors, or breaking updates that the mainstream media won't talk about.